The topic of public breastfeeding is one that is widely discussed, as well as one that is widely disagreed upon. There are many different perspectives on the issue, from mothers and non-mothers alike. Within recent years, but arguably starting in the 70s, breastfeeding has become an important topic, in the eyes of the public, and of the government. Public breastfeeding has been considered taboo for a long time, but has come into the light more recently. This change is likely because much of first world society is becoming more politically correct, meaning that things that used to be considered taboo are becoming more acceptable in society. Politically speaking, in general, liberals tend to lean towards allowing it, while conservatives tend to be against it, which leads me to my next topic. The federal government has legislation in place that allows women to breastfeed their child on all federal property, as long as the woman and her child are permitted to be there. This is an interesting subject point, as it is not the only reference to public breastfeeding that the government has made. In 2011, the Surgeon General released a 100-page document, titled The Surgeon General's Call to Action to Support Breastfeeding. The document covers a huge variety of topics, including, but not limited to health effects, psychological effects, federal policy on breastfeeding, social norms, embarrassment, employment and child care, mothers and their families, and many more. The document also endorses breastfeeding as the best source of nutrition for infants, stating that it is recommended that infants are to be exclusively breastfed for the first 6 months, meaning that they should not be given any foods or liquids other than breast milk, including water, and should be breastfed for at least 12 months. The United States government, or at least part of it, is, rather clearly, trying to raise awareness to the benefits of breastfeeding, and are pushing for public breastfeeding to become legal, and non-stigmatized. A graph in the Surgeon General's document titled Figure 1. National Trends in Breastfeeding Rates, shows that there has been a steady increase in breastfeeding since 1970, and the first effort made by the Surgeon General in support of breastfeeding occurred in 1984. In the following clip from YouTube, a Fox News reporter delivers breaking news on the subject of breastfeeding.
We've got Fox News Alert now with breaking news on a new federal push on breastfeeding. Believe it or not, that's becoming political. Michelle Obama now promoting breastfeeding as part of her campaign to fight childhood obesity. At the same time, we get word that the IRS has now reversed itself and will allow breast pumps and other breastfeeding supplies to qualify for tax breaks. There'll be tax write-offs now.
This comic, drawn by David Horsey, points out a flaw in the argument against breastfeeding. The comic shows a mother being shamed for brazenly displaying her breasts while she is breastfeeding, while a 15-foot-tall Victoria's Secret poster hangs in the background, implying that things that are sexy are okay, while breastfeeding is not. This points out what is arguably a vital flaw in the argument against public breastfeeding, which is, if sexy and revealing advertisements and outfits are okay, why is it that a mother who is feeding her child, and providing necessary nutrients considered unacceptable and inappropriate? The argument against breastfeeding is an interesting one, in that, it has been around for a long time, and has, in a way, been the clear winner. I say this because public breastfeeding is still often looked down upon by society, and it comes as a surprise to many people when they see someone who decides to breastfeed in public. The people who are against breastfeeding seem to come at it from many different standpoints. Some people believe that it is indecent, some think that the act is to intimate for public spaces, and some believe that it can lead to awkward social interactions. The argument against public breastfeeding is one that is valid, but could also be considered unfair. Thanks for watching.